Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about business process mapping and improvement. This is a short introduction to a big subject, and I will be posting additional videos in the near future. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You may also like to look at the websites shown on this slide. I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. The contents of this course are listed here. This is a simple way to understand any business process. Draw a box and give this the name of the operation you're looking at. For example, design and manufacture hammocks for cats. So cat hammocks is the output. These hammocks are built to order, so receiving the order starts the process. All processes consume resources, so draw an arrow in from the bottom to show these resources, which include timber, canvas, associated fittings, and of course the human resource of the craftsman who builds the hammocks. The process operates within controls and constraints. These include cost of sales, workshop capacity, trading regulations, budget, and of course time. This is my RARDAR model. That stands for Receive, Assess and Approve, Route, Do, Approve and Release. So for the example of the cat hammock company, an order is received from a customer, that order is then assessed and approved, and the order is then sent on to the craftsman in the workshop. The work is done and the completed hammock is then approved and released to the customer. These are the basic steps in any process that takes an order and then delivers a product or service. Information and material moves from left to right through the process. If that movement is late, incorrect or incomplete, then the process will not operate properly or may fail completely. The process steps at level 1, the what level, each contain one or more processes. Process mapping will show the operation of these processes and any problems or issues associated with them. For example, some process steps may be duplicated, inefficient, have unnecessary delays, or have no purpose. Business processes often develop in an ad hoc way, with what worked before being repeated and used again and again. People may not have the time or incentive to step back and look critically at how the processes work and ask questions such as, why do we do it like this? Is there a better way? Do we even need to do it at all? The initial process map may need further development as additional activities are found. Examples are shown in the SIPOC Map later in this presentation. A SIPOC Map, standing for Supplier, Input, Process, Output, Customer, is a simple way of summarizing process operation. So in this example, the process of accepting a customer order produces the two outputs of the approved order and the received customer payment. The customer payment transfers into the company bank account and the approved order moves to the next step in the process, order management. Order management enter the order details onto the sales database, send the customer order details to the workshop, and notify dispatch of the packing requirements. So approval of the order triggers 3 new processes. The noun-verb rule applies to any process. A noun or activity creates an entity that has a named output. In this example, the activity is to create a baked potato meal. You can think of this as a level 1 process that contains 2 processes at level 2, baking the potato and then garnishing and serving it. The listed resources must be available for the process to operate. The processes at level 1 are clearly shown. There is sufficient detail for a trained operator to follow this process. More information would be required for an untrained operator. The writer Rudyard Kipling, in his story The Elephant's Child, stated the 6 questions that can be used to understand any process. The who, why, what, where, when, and how. This is shown in the table on the next slide. Completing this spreadsheet will capture a lot of knowledge about the business process. You may wish to pause the slide so that you can study it, and you can download a blank spreadsheet from the URL shown. Performance measures may include the time for each process step, the time for the total process, variation in time, SLAs missed, resources consumed, etc. Performance measures basically come under the headings of time, cost, and quality. These may be qualitative or quantitative. This simple process can be immediately understood. The amount of detail shown is appropriate, although greater detail would be required for application system design, modelling and testing. A map like this has too much detail. It's difficult to know where to start to try and understand the process. When mapping a complex process, it's important to use a hierarchical approach as described in the next slide. The hierarchical classification of business processes is fundamental to the process classification framework produced by the American Productivity and Quality Council. This arranges processes in a hierarchy of function, process group, processes and activities. It uses the numbering system described on the slide. This is basically the same as giving the process an address so that it can be located within the organization's business process architecture. The framework also provides a good basis for a common business language so that the terms used to describe a process are consistent within the organization. When a process has been mapped, the steps in it can be reviewed to determine if they are value-adding, in other words, something a customer would want to pay for, or if removed, would reduce value to the customer. Some activities are easy to identify as wasteful, for example, redoing work that wasn't done properly in the first place. Process mapping is an iterative process. You may need several follow-up sessions after the initial workshop before the process map is completed. These follow-up sessions can often be done online using web conferencing. Process mapping is an exploration. You may find things that managers would prefer were kept hidden. There is a risk that you might open a metaphorical can of worms. A good process map communicates a common understanding. The more complicated it is, the less value it has. Over 100 symbols can be chosen when creating a BPMN map. This can result in inconsistent and unusable maps unless process mapping standards are defined on what symbols can be used, the number of elements or shapes per page, ideally no more than 8, and how these processes are numbered and named. I hope this course has been useful to you. Please contact me if you would like to know more about business process mapping, management or improvement. Thanks for watching the video.